What is going on, everybody? It is episode 820 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I'm here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Before we start, I have a $20 super chat from Shane H. Wilder. Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett, Mary, and Phil. Sorry for the short about you saying nothing ever happens, Mary. Phil asked, and I obliged. Remember, I don't joke about people I don't like. Just look at how I treat Brett daily.
Never apologize. Never apologize for brilliance.
It's a sign of affection. No need to apologize. And we have Phil joining us.
Hello,
obviously.
Everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
Doing good?
Doing good.
You did the quick let's go like I did last Friday.
Yeah, you know, kind of blast through it.
Just go right through it. Guys, we've got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, hit the like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Perhaps you followed us here from Mary's appearance yesterday on IRL.
I finally did the outro that Phil wanted me to do, the same one I use on this show.
It's important.
I don't know why. I just didn't feel like it transferred over to the vibe of IRL.
The
but
validation on Instagram and the hate on Twitter. Yeah, why wouldn't you think that translates? I feel like that translates perfectly.
There's just something about IRL chat that has zero sense of humor.
The chat is not the viewership, though. The chat is like, it's definitely, you know.
You're doing it for the people on the rewatch.
It's not representative of the whole.
So, you know, good. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Please go ahead and do that. Remember, liking the video, one of the best ways that you can help the channel grow besides sharing the content is liking the video. Helps us in the algorithm. It says that you enjoy this content, so please go ahead and do that. Don't even wait to see if the show is good. Like it anyways. So what are we getting into today? Well, there was a very, very long article about Elon Musk's baby mama drama as he builds his harem. Yeah.
I don't know if I should admit this, but I only read like half of it because it was just so full of word salad and just nonsense details, not the vocabulary. I mean, there was just details included in it for the word count.
Yeah. So what,
like a high school essay, you're trying to beef up the word count, and it was all BS.
If you're wondering what it is, it relates to Elon Musk and his, is it still alleged child with Ashley Sinclair?
No, they took paternity tests. 99.9999999. That literally just means that he was the dad all along. So we have a 20 from Weary Traveler. Happy Friday Eve, PCC and community. Question for Phil. Are you a fan of the band Typo Negative, or do you have any general opinion on them? Congrats on the pregnancy, by the way.
Well, Sarah's pregnant. I'm not. But thank you.
We're pregnant. That's what a lot of people say.
What? Yeah, we're pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I get to sit back and laugh at her discomfort. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, sometimes it's funny because like she used to be cold all the time. Now she's cold like half the time, and then at night she's like just like I'm dying, and I'm like I love this new development because I've always been dying at night. Anyways, but
overheating. Like,
it's you know it's just hot. You got blankets everywhere, and girls are all like I like this, and I'm just like you know, which is typical of men and women. But
our room like it's so cold on purpose. It has to be.
I turn the AC on considerably, and she has like blankets and pillows and stuff, and I'm still like, get these things off me. But anyways, back to
thoughts on Typo Negative.
What? Yeah, thoughts on Typo Negative. I like them. I am not the kind of guy that would go out and buy a Typo Negative record, but the singles, you know, Black Number One and stuff like that, I dig those kind of songs.
It is relevant because they just put out the new first images for the upcoming remake. It's not even a remake, it's a continuation of I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they used the song Summer Breeze in the intro to that movie, and it's one of the greatest intros of a movie that I've ever seen. There's nothing absolutely technically proficient or amazing about it. It just builds great atmosphere because it's like dusk, and it's this helicopter shot that kind of circles around. I guess it's technically supposed to be North Carolina. I don't know if they filmed it in North Carolina, but there's water crashing ashore as it kind of zooms in on this shot sitting on the side of a cliff. And nowadays they do it all with CGI, and it would look horrible. Mm-hmm. It would be awful.
I mean, well, it might look horrible. It likely would look horrible, but I believe that CGI can be used tastefully.
But the problem is now, one of my favorite things, I tweeted about this not even all that long ago. I love good shots from a helicopter of vehicle convoys. Ooh. And now they just do it all with CGI. They put fake cars on, like they get like a stock shot of a street or a road, and they just put fake cars on there, which is very different.
Hot Wheels.
I know.
And show someone's finger like moving them along.
That's what they would have done back in the day when they made miniatures.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question. Phil says he does like them. So what are we getting into today? We are going to talk about Elon Musk and all of the baby mama drama. We are also going to talk about the fact that apparently not only was it a girl boss trip to space, it was a satanic fake girl boss trip to space, according to people on the internet. Yes.
A satanic ritual.
Yes. While being fake at the same time. It's a fake satanic ritual, but the satanic part was real.
It is a humiliation ritual, too.
If you're wondering what we're talking about the girl boss Blue Origin trip to space. We'll get into it. It's a funny bit of information here.
The girl boss that was directed by dudes on the ground.
Exactly. So we're gonna do that. Also, did you know that Bill Gates has a daughter? Did you know that Bill Gates' daughter just graduated Stanford and just launched her first podcast?
She's gonna try to be an influencer.
Yep. She
so
joined
exciting.
Alex Cooper's podcast network, so she can talk about gold-plated condoms and birth control.
Gluck Gluck 9000.
Exactly. So
sick. That's going to be awesome.
With all of that being said, if you guys are ready, we will get started. Mary, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Phil, are you ready?
Make it go away.
All right.
Mikey Madison, who just won an Oscar for her performance in Nora, has officially turned down a role in the Star Wars franchise. And obviously, it's heavily anticipated what will be her first project after winning an Oscar, especially at such a young age and so early on in her career. But it's not going to be Star Wars because nobody wants to be attached to this IP anymore. It's too much baggage. It's too much controversy. And the future is uncertain still. Sources tell Variety that Mikey Madison was offered a role in the new and untitled Star Wars movie, directed by Deadpool and Wolverine filmmaker Sean Levy, but conversations have since ended with the Anora star passing on the part.
I don't think it's controversy. I think it's just a dead property that nobody cares about anymore, and it won't do anything for her career. It could be controversy in the sense that it will bring unwanted scrutiny that won't have any net benefit for her career. So back in the day, you choose controversial roles because your name becomes synonymous with something and it can elevate your profile. There's all sorts of Star Wars now that nobody cares about.
Oh, yeah.
Like endless Star Wars.
There's probably more Star Wars that no one cares about than there is Star Wars that people care about.
It's the one thing that absolutely still separates like Marvel from Disney Star Wars, which is like actors still like feign desire to do Marvel roles.
Yeah.
Like I have a list here of like actors who are like, I'd like to play this character. I'd like to play this character. There's still like the idea in people's heads that you could get a role in a Marvel movie and it might do something for your career. I always laugh at that because really what they're saying is I want to make money, which I support 110%.
Well, I mean, but it is work.
They always say it like, it's like, I want to do it because I love this character. I'm like, but
I know Kim Kardashian wants to play Mystique.
Yeah.
That should be one
really?
example. Well, she's said that before. She dressed up as Mystique for Halloween.
Austin Butler wanted to play Human Torch. He did not get that opportunity.
Cynthia Erivo wanted to play which character?
Was it somebody in the chat might remember who Cynthia Erivo
All of these people
wanted
have
to
a
play.
nephew or a little
she might have been Mystique
or
too.
Someone that has been like, check this character out, or they've gone to that young man and said, who do you think I should play if your aunt was ever to get into a Marvel movie? And like they'll deep dive and they're like Emma Frost or whoever, Jubilee or whatever. But they don't know.
That was true back in the day when it was like older actors. It would be like a guy who's been in Hollywood for 30 years. And my grandson said I had to take this role. Younger actors, now these are guys in their 20s. They're the ones who theoretically would have grown up with comic books. Or I guess maybe if they were in their 30s, they grew up with comic books. I wouldn't imagine a lot of actors in their 20s these days grew up reading comic books.
We have another 20 from Mike Smith. There are only 4 Star Wars shows, 4, 5, 6, Rogue One.
It was Robert Redford in Winter Soldier. He said that his grandkids said he had to take the role because it was a Marvel movie.
Well, those aren't shows. Those are movies. Is that Was that just
no? I'm saying the point was
the
that
super chat. The super chat.
Yeah.
No, Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 and Rogue One are movies.
Yeah, so I don't know.
He's just using show and movie interchangeably.
Okay.
And I would listen. I'm gonna make a statement that is generally unpopular, but episode 1, 2, and 3, especially looking back, they have their problems, but they are not a waste of time the way that 7, 8, and 9 are, and almost all the properties since Disney took over.
You're talking about the prequels, right?
Yeah, the prequels. They are not. I'm not going to say that there's some kind of perfect movie or whatever, but they had their own storyline, right? That you could follow. They had some amount of intrigue. They were interesting, and they followed characters that people cared about. All the past ones, I mean, all the sequels. 7, 8, and 9, those were an abomination. They were not like the first J.J. Abrams one did not actually have a story. It was just a redoing of episode 4, but with a chick. Literally, the Cartman meme is what it is.
Make it lame and gay.
Yeah, make it lame and gay. Put a chick in it and make it lame and gay. So because there was none of the drama, because she could do everything already. She beat her protagonist. Or the antagonist, she beat Darth, whatever his name, was it Darth Maul?
Remember.
No, not Darth Maul.
No.
I don't even care. She beat the dude in the first episode. So like, you're just like, all right, well, she's obviously already awesome. You think about how much Luke Skywalker got his ass handed to him. Like, first 2 movies, he just got beat up. So, but episode 1, 2, and 3, those are actually
Kylo Ren.
Pardon me?
Kylo Ren.
That's Kylo Ren, yes.
And the thing is, what they're doing now with the Sean Levy movie is it's its own story. It's not connected to this, to the Skywalker saga, and it's starring Ryan Gosling. And I was honestly surprised Ryan Gosling chose to do it.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to do it.
That's a waste of Ryan Gosling.
It is,
if I ever saw one. But it's separate from the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which is also separate from the Rey movie. Yeah. So these are 3 that are still in development. We have no idea.
I believe the Mandalorian movie finished principal photography and comes out next year, and there's nothing is moved forward on the Rey movie.
I'm not interested in the Mandalorian until they call Slave 1 Slave 1.
Yeah. Did you see the Lego set that they released without naming it Slave 1?
It's so bad.
What is this?
So the spaceship that all the spaceships have names, or not all the spaceships, but a lot of spapeships have names. Boba Fett's spaceship was named Slave 1 because he's a bad guy, right? Like Slave 1. So he was a bounty hunter. He's the guy that would, do bad things and give people to Jabba the Hutt, so Jabba the Hutt could kill him because he's a gangster, blah, blah, blah. And they stopped calling it Slave 1 because that's offensive.
It's offensive to use the word slave.
Can't say master bedroom anymore either.
We have a 20 from Santos Chavez. Brett, any thoughts on Daredevil Born Again season finale? Season 1 was a mixed bag. Hopefully season 2 is better.
Well, I'll tell you what, unfortunately somebody ruined the finale for me because I saw the clip of what Kingpin did to that guy, ripping his jaw out of his head. Did you see that, Phil?
Kingpin ripping
he grabs the dude by the head and pulls his jaw off.
No, this is not Fat Kingpin?
No, this is new, like modern Kingpin.
Yeah, and he's not fat, right?
He's not fat.
I'm
4 episodes behind. Bro, it got so boring. I fell off of it. I will probably end up finishing it all at once. I'm kind of back on the train where I don't want stuff to be released 1 week at a time. I want them to dump everything all at once. I want all the episodes to come out at once. The hardest part of finishing Reacher season 3 was that it would have been better to watch it all in one weekend and get all episodes done because they're not made to be consumed weekly. They're like most of these things that are made now on streaming are made as one continuous story, whereas back in the day they'd make an episode and it would be self-contained. I don't want to watch 8 episodes that tell one complete story weekly. I want to see it all at one time. So I got to finish it. I know that they said that the finale of the season redeems it because it got boring and it only broke into the ratings like twice. Like only twice did it make the, not Samba, but what's the other one? The Nielsen ratings. And I think they said that's mostly thanks to The Punisher. So, using a whole season of TV as like a build-up so that you can promote season 2 of it is not the best look for them because they're having enough trouble getting people to watch it as it is. But I probably will finish it, if for no other reason than to get the context to watch Kingpin rip a dude's jaw from his head.
Well, back to other Disney failure Star Wars. Over the past few years, they say things have made 180 from the period of Kelly Marie Tran's life when she was facing racist and sexist vitriol from toxic Star Wars fans.
But was it funny?
After she joined the franchise as Rose Tico in 2017's The Last Jedi. Do you recall this character?
Yes, I do. So The Last Jedi was the worst of them. And it had the worst. It was intended by the director to undo Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was absolutely atrocious. And yes, I do remember Rose Tico. She was off on a side quest that literally had no purpose. Like by the end of the movie, you're like, oh, they went and did all that stuff for no reason. They went to a casino world. And it was all leftist garbage they were doing. Seriously, it was real bad. It was terrible. So, yes, I do remember her. She got a lot of crap.
The actress.
I mean, maybe it wasn't her fault.
For being Asian?
No, it was that
confused.
the character sucked.
Oh, wait, no, they're saying it's sexist.
Yes.
No, they said it was racist and sexist vitriol. So I guess they were saying she's getting hate because she's an Asian woman.
It wasn't because she's an Asian. She was an Asian woman. She was getting trolled because it was terrible, and they used the fact that she was an Asian woman to troll her. It wasn't like, oh, we hate Asians. It's like, oh, you're Asian. There's a vector of attack. You know.
Kelly Marie Tran did an interview with Variety where she said, "I've been able to learn how to celebrate the parts of myself that at the time I was scared of, or I was made to feel like I had to be ashamed of. This past year, I did 4 movies, and they were all Asian stories with Asian writers and directors, and a few of those were also queer writers and directors. I remember looking back and thinking, wow, how crazy is it? The thing I was persecuted for, I now get to make art about."
Persecuted.
They go into the next role she's taking in a rom-com as a lesbian scientist who is 1/4 of a cohabitating queer friend group in Seattle. In the movie,
you deserved it.
her and her partner, played by Lily Gladstone, want to start a family, but costly IVF treatments aren't working, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about the plot. The entire thing, this entire interview that Kelly Marie Tran has done is about the fact that she's Asian and a woman and gay. That's the entire thing. And then they follow up on the Star Wars experience that she had. They say a lot has changed for Tran since Star Wars, but as she looks back on her experience with that fandom, she knows that the racism she faced was symptomatic of a larger continuing issue. Thank you. When considering what she wants to see change for actors of color who might not receive the support they need when they appear in major franchises, she replies, "The world. It's interesting how it seems to be happening pretty consistently to actors of color who find themselves in these spaces, and I think these occurrences are a microcosm for the social climate that we're living in, and it's really unfortunate."
And then for her, it's like it benefits her to continue on this path. Yeah. John Boyega, kind of in the same way, said he was never going to come back from it.
Like literally 2 weeks ago.
But they're very... they get a lot of boost in the news from talking about it.
It's like they get more of a career boost from complaining about being in Star Wars than actually being in Star Wars at this point.
Yes.
And that's essentially why Mikey Madison was like, I'm good, I'll pass on that. I have other offers.
That was a good idea. But to be honest with you, John Boyega does have something worth being bummed about, right? Like, he did, like, the way that J.J. Abrams set him up in the first episode was like, all right, this guy's going to be an important character, blah, blah, blah. And again, the second episode, which is total trash. What is his name? Ryan?
The
second.
Oh, Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
Ruin Johnson, they call him.
Who I hate. He absolutely made total garbage and threw John Boyega under the bus. It possibly was because of Disney as well, because they can't sell it in China if the big lead is a black guy.
I think it was just feminism. I think it was just they wanted Rey to be the main character, despite the fact that the audience wanted Finn to be the main character.
Maybe that
like
could
I
be.
think Kathleen Kennedy always expected Rey to be the standout of that. And
but even still, he could have not been he could have done what that Poe dude did. Like Poe Dameron was kind of like the lead guy.
Well, and now, guys, Andor is probably their most critically successful from both a fan and critic standpoint. As far as the TV show goes, it just doesn't get the numbers that they want. But Tony Gilroy has also said, like, that's it. We're done after season 2. So,
damn,
they're done.
So that's over with.
Like I said, Marvel is the only one where it's like, for as bad a shape as Marvel is in right now, there's still actors who are like, look, I'd like to do a Marvel movie. I'd like to play this character. Who was it? Austin Butler said he'd like to play Human Torch.
Also, it sounds like, I think Jamie Lee Curtis addressed this. Someone like brought up the idea of her doing a Marvel role, and she was like, I feel like I don't want to be in a blue screen room with dots all over me for like, like, as my like full-time job for 6 months. Like, I'd rather not.
It's not fulfilling.
Yeah.
Well, for her, it's like she's already made her money. Like, she only needs to do projects that actually speak to her.
Yeah, I mean, someone like Austin Butler could probably do the same. So.
John Hamm said he'd like to play Mr. Sinister or Dr. Doom. Janelle Monáe said she'd like to play Storm.
I don't know who the actor is, but Mr. Sinister is a cool character.
I think that was the one Cynthia Erivo said she wanted to play Storm.
Yes. John Hamm was from Mad Men. Don Draper.
Oh, the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be he'd be a good fit.
Yeah. So, it's kind of just a point of marking where we are now in the culture. Like, Star Wars just isn't relevant anymore, and it just doesn't matter. This girl just won an Oscar, and now she's like, keep me away from that stuff.
Bob Iger must be like, what did I allow to happen to this at one time priceless property? And you have just sullied it so bad that there are actors that are like, I don't want anything to do with that garbage. Unbelievable.
It's untouchable.
that he allowed Kathleen Kennedy to destroy it, because it could have been handled in a similar fashion to Marvel, because they're both owned by Disney, and there were problems with some Marvel movies, but it wasn't an absolute train wreck.
I mean, Marvel is a train wreck right now.
Maybe now, but it took a lot longer for it to become a train wreck.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of, I think that they could come, like Marvel could come back. The new Avengers with Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom, that might be okay. I don't know. I'm not claiming to have any kind of inside information, but Robert Downey Jr. is a really good actor. People really like him. So if the story's good, that might pull it back from the brink.
I don't think you can pull it back from the brink without more good movies leading up to it. So it all depends.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter if the one with Robert Downey Jr. is good, because you haven't convinced people to keep up with what you're doing prior to that.
I am going to go see Thunderbolts.
Does the story tie in? The stories leading up to the new one?
I mean, barely, because nobody cares about Marvel anymore. So it connects to a bunch of Disney Plus shows that nobody watched in movies like Thunderbolts and Captain.
I'm interested in seeing Thunderbolts.
Did you care about Captain America?
I did. I watched the most recent one because I wanted to see Harrison Ford.
Did you? Okay, so you saw that one. You'll see Thunderbolts. Will you see Fantastic Four?
If it goes right to my TV the way they've been doing lately, I might spend the money on it. If it's like I can just be, oh, it's out now and I can download it on my TV and watch it at home. Yeah, I'm not going to go to the theater to see it, but I probably would watch it on the TV.
Well, that's the crux of the issue, right? Like, for them, they can't make movies that people are like, I'll watch it as long as I can watch it at home. They need to make movies where people are like, I don't just need to see it at home. I need to see it first, so I got to go to the theaters. And they don't have, in my opinion, they don't have that excitement right now. Like, I honestly saw more people excited about seeing Sinners with Ryan Coogler.
I don't even know what Sinners is.
It's a vampire movie with Haley Steinfeld.
Michael B. Jordan.
I'm not a woman, so
it's. I mean, it's about,
more so a horror.
It's a horror movie,
not a.
So more like the vampires.
More like Nosferatu vibes.
Yeah.
The vampires in Antarctica.
What?
What's that movie? The movie where there's vampires that actually
know.
are brutal in there, and there's this great line. Someone when screams God, and the vampire goes, God.
The
God.
It's based. It's apparently it's going to have the highest opening of any
what movie am I talking about?
Of any original movie in like the last 5 years. Like something not based off a sequel or a book. Otherwise, it would have been Oppenheimer or I guess Barbie, because Barbie's based off of a character, like a
Yeah, Barbie wouldn't count as original either.
30 Days of Night.
30. Okay.
I wouldn't count Barbie as original.
So
Francisco Sanchez Jr., I appreciate you. Thank you, Weary Traveler. Oh, Weary Traveler's back, and he's not freaking out today.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been behaving.
We don't hate. Just saying.
It is. I have seen comparisons of it from Dusk Till Dawn.
Thank you, guys.
So, all right, let us move on.
Morgan Wallen recently revealed that he has a collaboration with a female artist on his upcoming album titled I'm the Problem. And we just found out that that artist is Tate McRae, an up-and-coming pop star who is often compared to our generation's Britney Spears. I think that's quite an exaggeration of her talent and prowess. But regardless of any of that, she's inoffensive. Morgan Wallen, however, has a weathered reputation. It was back in, I believe, 2021 that he was summarily canceled for saying the N-word, soft R, I believe, on leaked Ring camera footage from his neighbor. And this was something he said in privacy, at least so he thought, drunkenly with a friend, so he thought. And it turned into this massive scandal for him and his career back then. I believe he did end up apologizing, which was a mistake. Yeah. But since then, he has, of course, still had a very huge career, and he's blowing up. He's a huge artist.
I don't think apologizing for him affects him, because the people who are mad at him aren't his target audience anyways. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, the people that listen to his music didn't care, and the people that were mad weren't going to listen to his stuff anyway.
Was lost on him, I suppose, back when he was in the middle of it, and it was a different social climate as well, like closer to the Summer of Love, right? But he's still been having huge success ever since then, and a lot of big artists want to collab with him. And that includes someone like Tate McRae. And I don't know if there is much of an overlap between their audiences, but based on the response so far from Tate McRae's fans, it looks like there isn't much of an overlap, because they are furious. They're absolutely outraged at her decision to work with him.
Does this collaboration feel weird to you, just in general?
It definitely seems very industry approved. It seems
his manager called her manager. Her manager called his manager.
I don't remember what their record labels are respectively, or if they're under the same record label, but it gives a glass room meeting vibe for sure. I don't know if they're like friends like that, but it doesn't really matter. I'm sure plenty of people are going to stream their song. No one knows what it's called or anything like that yet. But the response from Tate McRae's fan base has been absolutely apoplectic. They cannot believe she would collaborate with a well-known racist.
Oh!
I actually collected a huge amount of the most unhinged tweets about this. Tate McRae confirms she's collaborating with neo-Nazi and racist Morgan Wallen. Well, there goes her career. I knew she was racist. And that Republican.
Okay. Wait. So they're like, I always had a bad feel. It's one of those where they're like, I always knew they were.
They always had a feeling about her. Even though, by the way, she's Canadian, some people are saying, oh, this makes perfect sense. She's from Calgary.
I love the
she's
regional...
really not beating those Albertan allegations. And I'm like, I didn't know that there were like regions of Canada known for being racist.
Apparently.
To Americans, we think of all Canadians
I was just thinking
very nice and polite.
Who are we talking about yesterday that got the one with Jenna Ortega? The actor
Percy Hines-White?
He's from St. John's, Newfoundland, and somebody made that like a pointed remark in his, and they said, well, he's from St. John's.
Yeah, I was like, what? I've never
I don't know what that means. Regionally, I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know about all these stereotypes. It is similar, though. Jenna Ortega, she's getting backlash for working with this co-star on Wednesday who got Me Too'd. Similarly, Tate McRae is now getting shit from her fan base for working with Morgan Wallen.
Who are the people that engage in this kind of discourse?
They're called stans. No, they're the worst people on Earth.
So what I mean is, like, are they young? Are they Gen Z?
Yep.
Are they're Gen? So there are still Gen Z people that
unemployed people.
This is what this is what started with shippers in the millennial culture turned into stan culture.
Yeah, I would say the majority of stan accounts are run by teenagers, or at least I hope so.
The reason I say that is because
once you turn like 20, you better put that shit away, put that behind you.
Look at the toxic people, not to use that word lightly, who used to get really unhinged whenever the X-Files would release an episode where Mulder or Scully showed interest in like somebody else other than the other person. People would get really, really angry.
And that was back
in the 90s.
You can't cheat.
Yeah.
Now they do that kind of thing with real people. I actually, personally, I kind of ship Tate McRae and Morgan Wallen. I don't know why. I think it just would make people so angry.
It's going to put her on her Lana Del Rey path.
Well, people actually thought when it was announced there was a female artist on the album, they thought it was going to be Lana, and now they're relieved to find out it wasn't. Another tweet said, "This is white trash convention." Another one said, "This is the white equivalent of R&B girls collabing with Chris Brown." So on what level is it the same thing to beat women and say the N-word? Like, one of them is saying a word and one of them is almost killing someone.
Yeah.
Those things should not be compared. Another one said, "Notice how they're all white." Another one, "I'm going to kick her ass back to Canada, Miss Trumpy wannabe."
I like this AI picture that somebody made. First of all, this is what I love about the culture. It's like then they'll get yelled at for making an AI photo as well.
I know, that's
because their fan base will
it's
will tell them
cancelable offense.
It says make Amar Etienne Gria a giga. That's what it says.
Tate, please don't do this. I love you so much. It's not worth it. Your career has so much to live for. This might not be career suicide, but this is reputation suicide.
Listen to that language of like desperation.
The manipulation, the emotional manipulation.
But I love you. It's like when somebody says like, I'm a big fan of yours, but
a lot of the comments were saying like, "Oh, and I was just getting into her music. Now
this ain't it," they say.
Now I'm going to pretend that I don't find her songs catchy because she's, I don't know, working with a racist. And then a lot of people rightly pointed out that Post Malone, another artist also featured on this album and previous Morgan Wallen songs, is not receiving the same backlash. Not even close, not even any, from what I've seen. And his songs with Morgan Wallen have been out for a while now. And someone pointed out, where is this energy people are giving to Tate for him?
Because the type of stan that likes Morgan or that likes Tate McRae is not the same type of stan or fan that likes Morgan Wallen or Post Malone.
That is true, but they're saying it's sexism.
It's not sexism.
It's fan base is older.
In the fans of Post Malone are older and not insane unhinged women.
Right. Well, they're not teenage girls. That's
Correct.
who we're really talking about. Teenage girls and teenage gays. We have 5 bitches collaborating with this racist, and you guys are just attacking the girl. I'm not defending her, but if you're going to drag her, let it be everyone.
Again, it makes no sense. Like, fan bases are different.
Well, it's a good sign that Tate McRae didn't shy away from the opportunity out of fear of being canceled by her own fans.
Well, eventually...
She shouldn't be courting these people, though. I remember we talked about this quote she gave not too long ago, talking about how her favorite fans are her gay fans and how they call her out on her mistakes and she appreciates them. And I'm like, don't give them that kind of power over you.
Your subservience will not be rewarded.
Yeah, you're just like kind of inflating their egos.
And we did talk about this before.
Feeding into that parasocial relationship.
This one, it says Addison Rae has collaborated with a total of 0 racists. But remember, she went through her own renaissance.
Yeah, she was already canceled before that too for allegedly supporting Trump.
Well, she shook his hand.
Yeah.
She shook his hand.
Yeah.
Shame on her.
Yeah. This is, I mean, Stan, like, there is no corner of the internet worse than Stan Twitter.
And the return on investment for courting Stan culture is 0, very little to 0. Like, there is nothing in it for you. In the long run, they are going to turn against you when you slip up because you're a human being.
It's a tightrope for the rest of your career.
I actually applaud Tate McRae for this. I don't think she's all that talented, to be honest, but, like, she's marketable. So
she's very normal looking.
I mean, it's actually better to like have them disown you long before you actually become successful and famous and stuff.
Yeah, just cut it off.
Yeah.
Right now, like cut off the umbilical cord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the whole hope then is like you wish to elevate yourself to a point where that fan base doesn't matter anymore. Weirdly enough, Addison Rae went the other direction, where she should have just kept going to reach a fan base of all people, but instead weirdly then swerved to the left and started courting the fan base that would normally start her career, not the fan base that ends the career.
Yeah, and now even they don't like her anymore because they can tell she's pandering to the gay community, you know?
So
they see that it's inauthentic because she's like a cheerleader who grew up in the South and like is a Republican, and she's pretending to be like our modern day Bjork or something. Like, stop. Yeah. No one believes you.
All right. What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day? Phil says cringe. All right. How bad is it today?
It's pretty bad.
Okay.
It is pretty bad.
Here we go, guys.
Do you think there are any gay fish?
Yeah,
pretty bad.
Definitely.
I think that one's gay.
Do you think they fall in love?
Oh, I hope so.
What about the ones who don't fall in love with any gender? Do you think they're okay just being on their own?
I don't think they're on their own. They've got loads of friends.
Yeah, it's just... What if all of his friends were couples and flaunting their magical relationships everywhere they went?
Me and Sahar aren't a couple.
But who said we were?
I don't think we're talking about fish anymore.
Do you guys get where I'm going with this or not?
Why do you do this to me?
Yeah. It's my job.
We do.
I don't really know how to feel okay with it yet, with being asexual and aromantic. It changes everything I thought I knew about myself.
I want to die.
And about my life and my future.
I think it's normal to be upset.
Bothers you.
When I first realised I liked Charlie, I cried at an Am I Gay quiz.
So cute.
It's a process.
We love you. I love you too.
Like, if it bothers you, then you're not.
What is this from?
Heartstopper.
What's Heartstopper?
It's the Netflix show. We've actually talked about this show on our show before. I didn't know it was that bad though.
I loved when the music started swelling.
Oh yeah, that was the moment, right? They're not. Oh, I don't think we're talking about fish anymore. Guys, I'm asexual and aromantic.
I'm just going to go to cute of the day because I have nothing else to say.
That's the point.
All right, this one's from Matthew. He says, they grow up so fast. Some comparisons from 6 to 12 weeks. Here we go. Oh.
Wait, I can't see. Very small. Oh.
Adorbs.
See, that dog is not a romantic.
No.
That dog is very romantic. Okay, now that we're done with all of that and I've had my day ruined, let's go ahead and get started then.
Yes.
Speaking of romance, maybe being asexual would have been better for everyone involved in the first story.
That is so true.
Yes.
Yeah. Elon Musk's baby mama
21st.
drama.
Let's 21st.
The crafty raccoon says the water is turning the fish gay. That's literally it.
Somebody should have.
Alex Jones was right.
Somebody should have just I'm sure somebody has already satired this and put Alex Jones in that clip somewhere.
Gosh, I hope so.
Okay.
Anyway.
Let's go.
Elon Musk's baby mama drama has been
cringe.
circulating in the media for quite a while now, and we've kind of stayed away from it. I didn't want to get too involved in commentary about things that weren't confirmed yet. But now the Wall Street Journal has just published a hit piece more accurately, on Elon Musk and Ashley St. Clair and the inner workings of his communications and dealings with all of his many baby mamas. There are probably many more. They hint that there are many more baby mamas than are publicly even known. But they title this, "The Tactics Elon Musk Uses to Manage His Legion of Babies and Their Mothers," The world's richest man juggles more than a dozen children and a harem drama. Along with running his companies and advising Trump, he recently took a paternity test in a battle with one woman over money and privacy. And that refers to Ashley St. Clair. She was asking Elon to do a paternity test. She was court ordering it to prove his paternity for child support payments, even though she was already receiving them before. I think that she wanted to use the paternity test results to mandate the child support payments in an official way.
Well, yeah, because it seemed like it was being used to like silence her.
It was on an unofficial basis that he was issuing child support beforehand, and once he revoked or reduced it, she wanted the paternity test so that it would be court ordered. And then he said he was happy to comply, but he just wanted everything to stay private, and that is not an option because Ashley St. Clair is speaking to the media and spilling the tea about the whole situation. But she collaborated, as well as others, in this hit piece that Wall Street Journal published the other day. Ashley St. Clair wanted to prove that Elon Musk was the father of her newborn baby, but to ask the billionaire to take a paternity test, she had to go through Elon Musk's longtime fixer, Jared Birchall. She said in a 2-hour phone call with Birchall, "I don't want my son to feel like he is a secret." She has now taken new photos with the baby, not showing the baby's face, and revealed that the baby's name is Romulus. Even though she was adamant in her interview with New York Post that she wants only to protect her child's privacy and safety. Seems taking a photo shoot with the baby and revealing the baby's name is running headlong into what she said previously.
So the two ideas kind of come to blows, right? The idea that you don't want your child to grow up, you know, feeling like it's being kept a secret, but also wanting to keep secrets.
I can think of many ways this could be avoided.
Yes.
Probably not biologically linking to yourself to Elon Musk in the first place, which was a premeditated event.
Well, and the most interesting part about the article is it uses Ashley St. Clair as a backdrop for it, but what it focuses on heavily is Elon Musk's his fixer was named Birchall. Even his name sounds like a character in a movie, Birchall.
Yeah.
He does. He seems like a shadowy.
He's the Saul Goodman of Elon's life.
But it's that, and it focuses heavily on Elon Musk's, you know, obsession with reproduction and population collapse and his harem, and that's really the focus of the article. She is used as the backdrop, whereas the focus is on his kind of obsession with having kids.
Right. He's very much a pro-natalist ideologue. Birchall offered St. Clair advice. He says Elon is a very big-hearted, kind, and generous person, but he has a different side. When a mother of his child goes the legal route in these discussions, quote, that always leads to a worse outcome for that woman than it would have been otherwise. Plus, he said Elon wasn't sure the child was his. I think that's kind of a lie because, as you can hear in the story of how Romulus was conceived, it was very much premeditated between the two of them. And he was talking about having kids with her. And throughout her pregnancy, they were still talking about this child as if it's both of theirs. So suddenly he's like, oh, I don't even know if this is mine. But yeah, it wasn't the first conversation for Birchall. He also organized Elon's $250 million push in support of Trump. And behind the scenes, he manages the financial and privacy deals that Elon wants for the women raising his babies.
Let me make the point. So if you make a movie, you get... so these two characters, Elon Musk is a movie supervillain in every sense of the word. He may not be in real life, but the guy who has an obsession with spreading his seed and talks about going to other planets, and the way he's framed in the article, he's a supervillain in every sense of the word. But the guy who's doing all this behind the scenes, he gets a TV show made of him, like you said, Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
So you make a movie about Elon Musk.
Jared.
You make a movie about Elon Musk. You make a TV show about Birchall.
Yeah, if you have some baby mama drama, you better call Jared and he'll fix it for you.
They talk about how he offered her $15 million plus $100,000 a month until the child was 21.
This was in exchange for her staying silent about the child. And as Milo actually pointed out, she declined to sign a confidentiality agreement worth over $40 million because there was something she wanted even more than the money, for everyone to know it was Elon's baby. So she wasn't willing to make the trade-off for all that money. Instead, she wanted, it seems to me, the attention.
So she says, 5 months ago, I welcomed a new baby into the world. Elon Musk is the father, she wrote. I have not previously disclosed this to protect our child's privacy and safety, but in recent days, it has become clear that the tabloid media intends to do so, regardless of the harm it will cause. And then they point out that 4 days after that post, he eliminated the $15 million offer, right? And went to court to discuss paternity testing and Musk's request for a gag order. He lowered the financial offer further, dropping her support from $100 to $60, and then from $60 to $40,000. And the last payment was $20,000. So every time she would push back, he would lower the amount.
Her pay.
And that's the problem with an unofficial method of payment, is he's in control of that.
Yes, which is why she's gone the legal route.
Yeah.
I don't even know who I hate more in this situation. Like, they both just seem like corrupt
I mean,
people.
I just laugh at it because for him, he has such lofty goals in life with whether it's the cars and getting people off fossil fuels, with vehicles and the idea of going to space, and just the grandiose nature of his ideas just speak to a movie villain when you add in things like this here.
What do you think, Phil?
So I know Ashley, not super well, but well enough to like have talked a few times or talked a bunch of times, and we're friendly. So that being said, I really wish that she wasn't making the situation like this. I know that Musk was offering, like, I understand and I agree that Musk sounds like he's trying to control the situation, but the amounts of money that he was offering or has offered her really don't leave him in a lot of control. If I understand correctly, she was offered something like 15 million flat out and then 100 grand a month.
Yes.
Like, that's not
originally.
Yeah, that's FU money, right? Mm-hmm. She will never have to worry about money in her life. $15 million is enough to make sure you don't have to worry about money ever again. You take half, you buy a nice house. Like, she could buy a nice place in Manhattan. She lives in New York. She could buy a decent place, $2 million apartment in Manhattan. Nice, right? Own that. She could buy another one, rent that out, and then take $5 million, put it in some kind of account.
Thank you.
Grows, and the $100 will still, or the $100,000 a month will still cover all of her expenses. Like, you have got to be spendy as hell to spend more than $100,000 a month. So really, she's not in a position where she would, or if she had taken that, she wouldn't be in a position where she's going to rely on Elon anymore. So I don't know why she's doing this other than wanting the attention and wanting to drag Musk through the mud.
So
it wasn't about the money, though. At least that's clear to me, and that's what she would probably say in response to that.
Yes.
She would say it's not about the money, it's about the principle of the thing, and it's wrong that he would dock the pay on an unofficial basis based on whether I'm on good behavior. And I think the whole situation is unethical, obviously, but no one's hands are clean in this situation.
Also, when she was pregnant, she says that Elon Musk urged her to have the baby via C-section. Musk posted on X that vaginal births limit brain size and a C-section allows for bigger brains, and he requested that the baby not be circumcised. I think if you, again, I want to make my argument again as to why I'm saying like he sounds super villain-esque. When you decouple like love and care and relationship from the act of having children, and you start talking about the pragmatic needs for doing so, it just sounds super villainy to me, on top of everything else.
Yeah, it's sinister. It's
like,
sinister. It's
asking her to have a C-section when it's not required for this purpose just sounds like something a movie villain would say to me as he's like sending a ship to space.
Yeah. And it is,
in the movie, he would send her to space to have the C-section.
Like, it is, by the way, scientifically inaccurate anyway, what he's saying. And there are more health risks for both the mother and child to opt for a C-section, which is why it's only considered for emergencies. So he's actually not even looking out for the best interests of his own baby when he is prompting her to make that decision. She ended up ignoring his advice anyway.
James Higgins says, dude, she sounds like the real supervillain. No, she could sound like a regular street level Marvel villain. Elon Musk sounds like a cosmic villain. Those are different things.
Look, she sounds duplicitous and kind of stupid, and he sounds evil, and no one in this situation is, you know, beyond blame. Okay, everyone in this situation deserves their share of the blame. They go into Elon's pro-natalist agenda here. His baby-making project is also relevant to his ambition for NASA, which he wants to move faster to go to Mars. He said that making people multi-planetary is critical to ensuring the long-term survival of humanity and life as we know it. In his view of the world, civilization is under threat because of a declining population, and he is driven to correct the historic moment by seeding the Earth with more human beings of high intelligence. His businesses are set up to serve that idea. The main objective of SpaceX is to build a rocket ship capable of getting to Mars, and his other companies, including Tesla, help finance that plan. He refers to his offspring as a legion. And then this is from a text
all
message.
Of Mary's buzzwords.
This is from a text message that he sent to Ashley St. Clair while she was pregnant. He said, to reach legion level before the apocalypse, we'll need to use surrogates. He has recruited potential mothers on his platform, X, according to some people familiar with the situation. That includes, actually, Tiffany Fong. They mention a prolific tweeter, a high-profile personality on the X platform. She's a cryptocurrency influencer named Tiffany Fong, who was covering the downfall of Sam Bankman-Fried when Elon started liking and replying to her posts. His interactions ramped up as she posted more political content in support of Trump, and he followed her during the summer of 2024. This sort of attention from Elon on X sent droves of followers to Tiffany Fong, which was a financial boon. More engagement meant more earnings for her as part of the revenue-sharing program for creators on X. During the height of her interactions with Elon, she earned $21,000 on the platform in a 2-week period in November, according to a screenshot she posted. I assumed that screenshot was fake, but I guess not. That was about when Elon sent her a direct message asking if she was interested in having his child. The two had never met in person. So just before we continue, are you going to tell me that Elon is just totally naive and he's totally clueless as to the consequences of what he's doing? Like, he's offering to start families with women he has literally never met in real life and has no idea who they are, what their values are, what they're capable of, what their intentions are with him or having his child. And you're going to tell me that he's a victim? Like, I'm sorry, I'm a victim blamer. I'm an equal opportunity victim blamer. This is the definition of insanity. You're doing the same behavior over and over again, expecting a different result. So he is offering to have a child via IVF, I assume, with this random mutual of his on X who he has never met before, knows nothing about this chick, knows nothing of her, even whether she's a citizen of this country or not, a spy,
somebody who might be a good mom,
or someone who is even capable of raising a child properly.
I think Musk relies on. I think he probably is a little naive, and he's of the opinion that if the woman does not do the things that she needs to do, he has resources enough to take care of the kids. Now, whether or not that's correct or whether or not that's the right course of action is not what I'm making a judgment on. I'm trying to guess what his opinion is, or why this course of action is the one that he has chosen. I think it's because he looks at his resources as essentially infinite, and he can pay his way out of almost any problem, which is
this is a terrible way to view your life and the world.
It may be, but there's also a certain amount of substance to it. So
sure, I mean, you can run from consequences with the amount of money he has, obviously, but only for so long. I think that it's proven that's not sustainable by the fact that he doesn't have intact relationships with all of his children and the mothers of his children. He had this whole plan for them to live on this shared compound in Austin, and only Siobhan lives on it because none of the other ones have a good relationship with him or each other. And that's proof enough that, you know, money doesn't solve all your problems.
Again, I'm not making
You have to actually, like, vet the people that you're going to be linked to for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm not making the argument that it was a good plan. I'm telling you what what seems most likely.
I mean, I'm making the counter argument to, like, the imaginary droves of people who are defending all of his decisions, which, you know, they actually exist. I think the voice of the majority on X, at least, is defending Elon and has this.
It's kind of
they're dedicated to defending all of his decisions, even when they're objectively stupid.
But it's become it's like a natural response to the fact that there is now Elon derangement syndrome that goes the other way. That's more tied closely
Elon
to
devotion syndrome.
Yeah, like they run headlong into each other because one side hates him because of who he supports politically, and the other side is supporting him because he's getting so much backlash because of his proximity to Trump.
Yeah. See, really, I'm an Elon centrist. I'm just calling balls and strikes.
Yeah. I mean, me and, like, for a while, we've just been like...
Common sense, like Elon regulation.
I look at it and I'm like, you know... And part of it could be the framing of the article and how they do it. I'm like, sounds super villainy to me, but, you know, who am I but a poor little podcaster? I don't know. I'm sure he's got a grand master plan for society that I couldn't possibly understand because I don't have his IQ, but it sounds super villainy to me. That's all I'm saying.
You don't need much imagination or literary flourishes to make Elon sound like a supervillain. He is leaning into that very deliberately.
And that's just related to this stuff. Look, he also talks about how he believes that he's the number one or the number 2 person on the list of people who would possibly be assassinated because of his connection to Trump, which is a very real thing that's going on.
I was going to say, do you think that he's
No. I'm saying all I'm commenting on is like the scope of what he's connected to. So it's hard to not make it out to be more than that when it's such a vast scope.
I just wanted to get back into the story about Tiffany Fong because this was the highlight for me. So she earned $21,000 in a 2-week period in November when they were interacting the most on the platform. And then he asked if she was interested in having his child. She didn't move forward because she pictured having children in a more traditional nuclear family, but confided to a few friends about his approach, including Ashley St. Clair, whom she knew as another conservative social media figure. So at the time, Tiffany Fong had no idea that Ashley had already sired an Elon child. And she was worried, Tiffany Fong was worried that turning Elon down could hurt her earnings, and it did. Once Elon learned that she disclosed his request to others, he chided her for not using discretion. She doesn't owe you anything. Okay, that's ridiculous. According to the people, and unfollowed her as a result. That contributed to a fall in her engagement, and her earnings declined.
There was a tweet that said, Wall Street Journal reports Elon Musk DM'd Tiffany Fong to request she have a baby with him. When she declined, he unfollowed her and cut her premium payments, which were worth up to $21,000. And then Derek Hunter says the story says that he unfollowed her from after she told people, which eliminated his retweets of her, that the payments declined because of that. So it wasn't that he just said cut her revenue in half.
Right.
It was the fact that they were connected through engagement,
yeah,
which is one of the reasons why monetized X is such a big conversation now. I saw Matt Walsh having that discussion last week or earlier in the week about X being better before it was monetized.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And yeah, sure, he didn't go into the X algorithm and manually demote Tiffany Fong's account. But you can't deny that there's some kind of implication of consequences if you reject him or don't give him what he wants because he controls the platform.
Yeah.
And I think it's absolutely ridiculous and entitled that he would think he expects Tiffany Fong to, like, use discretion. He was the one who was indiscreet in the first place by literally sliding into her DMs and asking her to have a child with him.
This must be why they're getting rid of DMs on X.
His behavior was indiscreet, not hers. Yeah. I think that her behavior was actually quite admirable, and similarly, like, there's just no amount of money I can imagine ever convince me to, like, tie myself to someone this absolutely bonkers insane. He's now responded to the Wall Street Journal article and praised TMZ. He said TMZ over WSJ in a post on X today.
If I'm being honest, TMZ is undercredited for their journalism.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree with that, for the record.
Didn't they uncover the Hulk Hogan stuff that caused
the Gawker stuff?
Yeah, Hogan
TMZ is pretty good about, look, they've got their biases for sure.
They're the first to run to a story most of the time, though, and they get exclusive sources.
When the rest of the media had stopped reporting on the Josh Shapiro house fire, they were still reporting on it.
Well, that's because Harvey Levin is Jewish, so.
But, I mean, the point still stands. They still covered it and all that stuff. So I actually do think that TMZ
they're pretty reliable.
Also, they get an unbelievable amount of exclusives from, like, whether it's, like, exclusive tapes or exclusive videos. People send stuff to TMZ.
Again, the only 3-letter agency we trust here.
All right, let's do some Super Chats.
Greg Duvier said, happy belated birthday, Phil. Also, congratulations on becoming a father. I hope your kid will be able to sing like you.
I hope he can sing better than me.
Do you plan to, like, raise your child to be, in the arts, creative in some way, music?
I mean, I intend on raising him to know a little bit about music. I'll put a keyboard.
Just, like, see if it
clicks. I don't want to shove it down his throat, but at the same time, I do think that, like, look, giving him lessons and making sure that he understands how to play is worth the time.
Yeah.
And when it comes to children, you do have to push a little bit because they tend to be kind of flaky, and it will be worth it later in life if he, I'm not going to, like, yell at him and sit him down, but I'm going to do what I can to, like, encourage him, and hopefully he'll take to it. So
DCNC said, let's do 2 more, then move on after the fact. See, they're making fun of you now.
Well, that's just me, old reliable.
Kenneth Hart said, gonna be a bad day, make it a good show, okay? Snooze over Zin. I've never tried those.
Let's do 2 more and then come back after the fact.
Oh, okay. Deep South EDC said, I've reached my chat budget for the month. Hi, Phil.
Hi.
And there's a 20 that just came through. And and hello.
I guess.
No, you didn't say hi to me.
Steve DeMaria said, or maybe DeMaria, love you guys. Watch every day. Time for you and everyone else to come to terms with Elon's breeding fetish. I want to fight Phil in the ring. Happy Easter. Take care.
Mary's been on that for a long time.
On what?
On pointing out Elon's breeding fetish.
Yeah, I don't think it's even a fetish. I think that he's asexual because he prefers to use IVF over the normal, the normal way of having a baby, having sex. We used to have sex in this country. We used to be a proper country. And now it's all in a petri dish.
All right, let's hold off on the rest, and we'll come back after the fact.
Okay, we'll come back after the fact. Gosh, the controversy about this girl boss space trip in Blue Origin, it can't stop. It just keeps spiraling further and further. And now users on X have a theory running around that this was actually not, in fact, a trip to space, but actually a satanic ritual in disguise. So I'm not really sure. I think most of them are saying the women did in fact go to space, but others are saying this is a psyop to convince us that space exists when it doesn't.
Not everyone is Shane Cashman.
Yeah.
We have a picture of why people are calling it.
This is why. One X user says, "Do you notice the logo on Katy Perry's and fellower Blue Origin space travelers patch is the satanic goat with an upside down cross if you flip it over?" And yes, it's true. If you flip it upside down, it does resemble Baphomet.
And there's no gravity in space. So that means there is no up or down.
Oh, right. Okay. I hadn't considered that. That's a good point.
There is no gravity in space, so there is no up or down.
There were some other tweets pointing this out. Goat horns, celebs, fake space. This isn't science, it's a ritual. They mock God while pretending to reach the heavens. And they quote 2 Corinthians 11, Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. I don't know what that's implying. Katy Perry going to space was another psyop. They are mocking people at this point. 6 women going to space wearing the Baphomet symbol. And then they also point out over the video of them after landing, ringing the bell, Katy Perry is swearing her allegiance by placing her hand adoringly and lovingly over the Baphomet logo. They tell you in so many ways who they worship. So it's all an open secret. It's right under our noses all along.
We've talked about
like a satanic ritual.
It's like what we talk about anytime one of these things comes up. Is this the product of somebody just being edgy while making the logos? I would tend to fall in that one, unless I'm supposed to believe that Jeff Bezos, with his bald head, goes into some chamber and then chants.
You're not supposed to not believe it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't necessarily agree that the Blue Origin trip was intended to be a satanic ritual. I do think that there is something sinister about space tourism in general. Even though if I had the opportunity, I would go. I think a lot of the intentions behind it are sinister. There are people who seem to equate space travel and space tourism with proof that man is the god of the universe, basically, and this is an attempt to lay claim and ownership over the universe, which in my worldview we did not create and have only dominion over. We did not create it, and we have no ultimate power over it. But I read further into this story about the patch, and there is allegedly no evidence to support claims that this was intended to look like Baphomet. Blue Origin has shared details about each symbol featured on the patch. The firework was placed for Katy Perry to symbolize her influence across music, pop culture, and philanthropy, hinting at her song, Firework. The main character of Lauren Sanchez's book, Flynn the Fly, was placed in the top left corner. And if you could pull up the logo so it actually corresponds here, that would be great. That was placed in the top left corner. And a film reel for the filmmaker Flynn on the crew was on the opposite side. And Gayle King's symbol was the microphone, as she is a daytime host. Wen received the Scales of Justice for her activism. And then there was a star for the NASA scientists to represent her passion.
I mean, I just like how much it looks like the 2005 Fantastic Four suits color-wise.
It's just crazy how, they published a diagram explaining all of the meaning of every last symbol on the patch. Yeah. And people still are saying that it was intended to look like Baphomet upside down. That's just a little bit of a reach for me. Yeah. And I am conspiracy minded, but this one is just a bit of a reach.
It is.
We have a 20 from Damage Controlling. Cats have slanted eyes like a serpent, but can expand them to fool you. Their mouths a mimicry of infants, so women waste time on them. Lastly, they literally infect you with parasites that make you like them. cats are satanic.
Is that why I like my cats so much?
Fake news.
No,
Is that why I like my cats so much now?
That is absolutely fake news.
I came to love Mocha because
cats are
I
angelic.
was infected.
Cats are absolutely angelic. And I don't have toxoplasmosis. I just have worms in my brain that make me want to kiss cats. They're heavenly beings.
And on top of all of this, it's not just that people.
Wait, this is another part. So Katy Perry, they each had their own camera, their own live feed in the spacecraft.
Correct.
And Katy Perry, once they went into high orbit, she went up to her.
Go into orbit.
Well, what was it then? When
they went into space, but it was suborbital.
Whatever.
Yeah.
When they went into space, she went up to her camera and revealed the set list for her upcoming album, Lifetimes, which some users said was MK Ultra mind control symbolism, because the set list was written on a butterfly, a little butterfly decal, which references the Monarch mind control CIA program, which is allegedly discontinued. We all know that's not true, but just thought I would add that as another layer to the psyop.
And the other thing that people are talking about, it's not just that it was a satanic ritual, it's also that it was a fake satanic ritual, judging by the opening of the door when the ship re-entered Earth's atmosphere.
There was another thing I forgot to mention, because at the end of Katy Perry's music video for E.T., which she should have performed in space.
She really should have.
You see her, a CGI rendering of Katy Perry with goat hooves, with goat legs, which seems to be also a reference to Baphomet, who has a goat head and a human body.
So the other thing that was going on was the discussion about whether this whole thing was faked because of the snafu with the door opening before it was supposed to open when they released this footage, which just proves to me, A, either they wanted it to be a conspiracy, or B, they just, if they are evil geniuses who faked it all, they don't have good people working for them, because they should have checked this footage before it came out.
It was opened from the inside before being closed, just so that Jeff Bezos could wrench it open on camera.
Yeah, so there is, I love the cover of the guy over it. And then they're like, no, close it.
But some people were saying that this isn't even a real spacecraft.
Because it was suborbital and it wasn't...
Yeah, so the argument goes that because it's not a real spacecraft because there's no scoring from it returning to the Earth after being outside of the Earth's atmosphere, but it was suborbital, which means that it was not actually going around the Earth. To get into orbit, you have to go something like 20,000 miles an hour. The Earth's escape velocity is really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
This never made it even close to that speed. At 17,500 miles an hour, when something like Dragon is re-entering Earth's atmosphere, the atmosphere of the Earth heats up to a point where it turns into plasma, which is ionized gas, and it scorches the actual returning the vessel. But this never got that far. It only got to 60 miles above the Earth, as opposed to something like Dragon, which gets like 250 miles above sea level. So it never got to orbit. They didn't. It's barely a spacecraft. Yeah, so it's all just phony baloney. It was not even run by women. They were along for the ride. It was controlled by men.
Remotely?
Yeah, nobody in there was driving that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it was being controlled remote.
It was all
Well, they can't hit a curb in space. They could have let them drive.
I heard.
You're like,
I heard that they
I
did
totally paused.
They're like, at least I don't have to parallel park this ship. Okay. Look, he kind of screwed it for himself by, if it wasn't the plan to cause controversy, by doing the ceremonial opening of the door when it already opened once. If they had just been like, oh, the door opened and walked out, nobody would have thought twice about it. But
that's true.
Still made me laugh. All of it made me laugh. Also, don't forget that Jeff Bezos might have been lightheaded because he took a spill trying to find Lauren in that like dip in the ground.
Concussion or something.
He fell over and he's bald. So
I love me some Hollywood conspiracy theories. I love me some symbolism, but this one just wasn't really doing it for me. And I think the real takeaway from it all, culturally speaking, is that feminists didn't take kindly to the way that this was being marketed. I saw tons of videos on just like Instagram reels of people who are normally like feminists, like proud, self-proclaimed feminists, saying this was pandery, it was stupid, it does nothing for our interests as women.
Aren't feminists terminally bitchy, though?
What?
Aren't feminists terminally bitchy?
Well, what does that have to do with it?
Well, why would they take joy or pride in anything that wasn't done by women?
Well, because
right.
if this happened in the 2010s, they would have absolutely
lied about
flipped out, and yeah, they would have loved this. They would have loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been actually received well by feminists back in the 2010s. And I think that it's a sense of like this vibe shift that everyone's talking about, that both feminists and anti-feminists, everyone across the political spectrum, found this equally cringy for, I guess, their own reasons, but rightfully so. And we're going to be seeing less of this pandery girl boss hashtag feminism going into the near future.
You'll love to see it.
You should sign up for Amanda Bynes' OnlyFans and ask her if she thinks this was real or not.
You know what? Amanda Bynes should have gone on the trip.
She should
Amanda Bynes looks like a Gollum now, huh? Or more like a
unrecognizable,
like
truly.
a Golgothan.
Yeah.
I feel
If you watch the movie, if you watch the movie Dogma, you'll know what a Golgothan is.
I think they just re-released it. That movie. Like,
Dogma, really?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah. All right, let's do some super chats.
All right. Shane H. Wilder said, in that case, I will not apologize for the short I'm dropping tomorrow about Mary at Taco Bell when Lent is over. LMFAO.
Are you gonna? Do you have like
it's gonna go crazy.
Do you have a plan for like when Lent is over? You're gonna go to Taco Bell, or have you been off it now for so long? You're like, it doesn't even matter.
No, it matters to me, but I'm not planning on going like on Easter or anything. Like just when the fancy strikes me after Easter at some point, then I will. But definitely gonna enjoy that first crunch wrap.
Let's go.
It's gonna be amazing. The best crunch wrap I'll have in my life. Corey Anderson.
Should get the steak quesadilla.
Okay, I promise I will get it. But to
you.
me, like I love Taco Bell, but to me, it's like all the same stuff in different shapes.
You
so,
will not regret it.
I don't know. I will try it.
You won't regret it.
Okay. I'll report back when I do. Corey Anderson said, God sent angels to earth disguised as dogs. That is why all dogs go to heaven. I am not perfect, but I try to be good because when I die, I want to go where the dogs are because that is where love is. Is this a quote?
100% true.
Phil agrees.
Is this like a quote from
I think it is a quote for something.
From the movie All Dogs Go to Heaven?
I don't know if it's from that, but it's definitely a quote.
I hated that movie as a kid, by the way. The All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Because they went to heaven.
No, because you had all these graphic scenes of these dogs like dying in horrible ways. Yeah. And I was like, this is for children? Like, I was terrified.
My dog is old and she's getting very close. And so that kind of stuff touches me now.
If you watch that movie, you might cry.
I will not watch that movie.
You might need a handkerchief.
I will not watch that movie.
Mike Smith.
Do 2 more.
Said, it's pretty bad that episodes 6, 7, 8 made 1, 2, and 3 good movies.
They didn't make them good. I actually said that 1, 2, and 3 were good prior to 6, 7, and 8 coming out, honestly. Or 7, 8, and 9 coming out.
Personally, I hated watching episode 1, but 2 and 3 were good, in my opinion. I wouldn't probably rewatch it. It's not my thing.
The idea is like a movie should be good, but it shouldn't shouldn't need retrospect to be good. It should be good either way.
Yeah,
one
like
sucked.
I know that I have an unpopular opinion, but I did like 1, 2, and 3.
Pop Culture Junkie said, looks like Pay Records are first discovery in Carano's Disney case. My source says second tranche could be a nuclear level PR stink bomb of emails.
Let's go.
When is that set to happen?
We'll have to check it out.
We haven't had an update on the Carano lawsuit in quite a while.
It's been a while.
I was wondering if it was just going to reach a settlement at some point.
Well, let's hope.
But maybe she's not willing to take a settlement from them.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the money. It's about the principle of the thing.
Exposing Disney for being crappy. Right. All right. Let's move on.
I never imagined that Bill Gates and call her daddy would be mentioned in the same sentence. But here we are. This is our reality. This is the timeline that we live in. Because Bill Gates' Nepo daughter, Phoebe Gates, just got signed on a podcast deal with Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy. She has started her own podcast network called Unwell, and Phoebe Gates is one of the first, if not the first, influencers signed onto that network with her own podcast called The Burnouts. But she's more impressive than just having a podcast. I learned more about Phoebe in my research. She graduated from Stanford University last year in June after studying for 3 years with a Bachelor of Science degree in human biology. And she's also described as an entrepreneur and an advocate for women's health and empowerment, working closely with global healthcare leaders and advocacy organizations. This sounds like a very impressive 22-year-old young lady.
She is definitely speaking at some women's summits.
Definitely. Like, she's very impressive for her age. So it doesn't really make sense to me why her podcast on the Call Her Daddy network is called The Burnouts.
It has to be on brand with the rest of the Call Her Daddy stuff.
Like, I know it's like an ironic thing, whatever, but it really just comes off as performative relatability from the daughter of not just a billionaire, but we're talking in the hundreds of billionaire status of Bill Gates. And she's pretending that she has something to share with normal people.
But that's
she
the thing.
She describes herself as a burnout.
You know, she's probably a little bit better off than, say, a Meghan Markle, because there's less baggage there. But the point shouldn't be to be relatable. It should be to talk about your unique living experience.
I would appreciate more the term burnouts if she actually dropped out of Stanford, started smoking copious amounts of weed, got cut off from her family fortune, and started living with a loser. Then you go ahead and call your podcast The Burnouts. But until then, I don't want to hear it. It's described here as former Stanford roommates and now business partners Phoebe Gates and Sophia Kiani share their experience as startup founders and the complexities of being young professionals, from financial literacy, social impact, and navigating networking. Ever been hit on through LinkedIn? With exclusive access to top experts, they offer an inside look at their chaotic lives alongside career insights from network of thought leaders. Watch them pursue their dreams while trying to keep their lives from going up in flames. Will they burn out? We'll find out.
Look, you know that I always have a soft spot for the Nepo babies. I do. I have a soft spot for the Nepo babies because making your way in the world, especially if you want to be your own person, isn't always easy. And most people in this realm don't want to do that. They want to ride the coattails of their family. But let's be real here. Like, is there anything less difficult to do than network when you're the daughter of Bill Gates? People will just line up and give you information and numbers.
Yeah, that's not networking.
In fact, your whole job you could run a networking company, because your whole job would be just being like, hi, I'm the daughter of Bill Gates. And they'd be like, here's my contact information.
Yeah, they'd be like, shut up and take my money. Thank you. Well, that's my face when I see the burnouts.
Okay.
As for the Nepo baby label, you'll be glad to find out that Phoebe knows and embraces being a Nepo baby, but she also says that made her freshman year at Stanford so tough.
So difficult to be Bill Gates' daughter when you're going to Stanford.
Well, is she ugly? So I've never seen what this woman looks like.
Weirdly enough, I mean, you look at her mom,
this
who's
is her
quite
on the,
homely.
This is her on the right.
I think she's pretty. Personally.
On the right.
Surprisingly pretty when you look at pictures of her mom.
She's definitely not. She doesn't look like she should be made fun of for, or she would. It would be likely that she'd be made fun of for her looks.
No, and she's made fun of instead for her family connections. I guess
looks like skinny Gypsy Rose Blanchard there, but that's not even true anymore because Gypsy Rose Blanchard just lost a bunch of weight.
Joey King, maybe.
Yeah.
Bill Gates made sure his 3 children grew up aware of how privileged their lives were. But when your father is the man who founded one of the biggest tech companies in the world and is worth more than $100 billion, that comes with a level of pressure. Phoebe is well aware of her Nepo baby status, But having wealthy parents doesn't insulate students from the culture shock of moving away for college, especially when more eyes than normal are on you. On her new podcast, The Burnouts, alongside her business partner, Sophia Kiani, Phoebe Gates recounted her early weeks studying at Stanford. Quote, I had so much insecurity and such a desire to prove myself. I came in, I was like, I have so much privilege. I'm a Nepo baby. I had so much insecurity around that. I feel like it's so hard when you're a freshman in college because you have no experience. You have nothing. Well, she quickly made something of herself because she believed she was the next Elizabeth Holmes. This is a real headline. Bill Gates' daughter, Phoebe, thought she would become the next Elizabeth Holmes after coming up with an idea for a Bluetooth tampon at Stanford University.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you.
This is why female entrepreneurship is a joke.
What did I say yesterday? I was like, just once I want these ladies to create something for a dude.
Bluetooth tampon. It's like AirPods, but for your vagina.
Makes sense to me.
Just amplifies the music you're listening to on your hot girl walk. Phoebe Gates thought she would excel as a medical entrepreneur. This says she hoped her product would analyze period blood to give instant insights so women could learn if they're anemic, find out if their hormones are out of balance, and receive other medical diagnoses without going to the doctor or getting a traditional blood test.
If you're buying a Wi-Fi tampon, your hormones are out of balance.
So it's Theranos, but for your vagina. That's what I'm getting from this.
Yum.
And she legitimately thought she was going to be the female founder of her generation. Amazing. And
that means she can be on Meghan Markle's podcast.
I think
Confessions of a Female Founder.
And that obviously fell apart. She didn't get any investment or follow-up on this because it's a stupid idea and it's not solving anyone's problems. But
what about an HDMI tampon?
It's a long ripcord there. What I think this proves is that all along she just wanted the recognition in her own right rather than being referred to as the daughter of Bill Gates. And it's more about clout than anything, hence her new career as a podcaster. And her first guest on the Burnouts podcast is actually Kris Jenner, who was a secret investor in Phoebe Gates' new online shopping company called Fia. This is a startup. There are not many details known about it yet. It just says it's a new way to shop online. No one knows anything about it, but they actually made a promo for this startup with Kim Kardashian.
Cool. Posted
to Instagram. You can see here.
Is this thing on? Okay. Guys, it's time to tell you guys about what Fia, our company, is. Fia is an app that basically, while you're shopping, tells you...
Sophia, what the hell are you doing in here? Are you telling them about the app?
Kim told me that I could.
Oh yeah, Kim Kardashian told you you should.
She did.
Oh great, yeah, let's call her.
Okay, you're really embarrassing me.
You're embarrassing me. Hey Kim.
Hey girls, what are you up to?
Well, Sophia wants to tell everyone
This is so bad.
Kim cannot play.
There's some logical...
She can't even play herself.
everything about the app.
There's some logical inconsistencies here because she's like, oh, Kim Kardashian said that. Like, it would be a crazy idea to be able to talk to Kim Kardashian.
When you're Bill Gates' daughter.
When you're Bill Gates' daughter. And then you just called her. So this skit just doesn't even make any sense.
Just
either.
Keep going.
Oh, you want to watch the rest? Okay, here we go.
No, I don't. I just think people want to get off the wait list.
Girls, have I taught you nothing about media training? You can't just give them everything right now.
That is
actually, I'm sorry, Kim Kardashian's better than both of them.
Better at acting.
Great point, Kim. You're the expert.
Starting a company is no joke. So keep Fia under wraps until the perfect moment. Trust me, it'll be worth it.
From the real mouth of a legend. Thank you, Kim. We appreciate it.
Dale.
All right, I'll call you girls later. We have a lot of work to do.
We do. Mostly me. Phoebe actually knew what she was doing, but whatever. Bye! I didn't actually ask her, could you tell?
Well, no shit.
Okay.
That's the promo they made for their new startup company.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is the type of astroturfing they are receiving just right out the gate. And now I'm looking at their socials. The official account for the Burnouts podcast on Instagram already has 500,000 followers.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I saw Hawk Tua Girl's numbers tanked when she came back, so.
You just wouldn't have the opportunities without your last name.
Again, which is why the podcast should just be like Confessions of a Billionaire's Daughter.
That's way more interesting.
Way more interesting.
And make it a solo podcast. Nobody knows or cares who your friend is.
Like, I came back from like a trip to Martha's Vineyard, and my dad was having a weird party with a bunch of people in masks. I don't know where it was going.
Blood.
Everyone was like, I don't know where they got the robes from. We didn't have any black robes in the house.
It was like so weird, and like I brought my Tinder date there, and he was like so freaked out, and he like ghosted me.
Like, it's like everybody was in a semicircle chanting weird Gaelic terms. I don't know what that was about.
I also saw this interesting commentary on her branding decisions. But this is the Burnouts podcast on the Unwell Network. Someone on X pointed out energetically, why would you call a network that name? I'm unsure about the subsequent podcast pejoratively titled The Burnouts, considering they're highly privileged Stanford grads. I see people trying to be edgy with their business names to make a quip about wellness culture or even trash. And I feel like there are very few circumstances where that is coherent marketing. How the F are you burnt out when you're 22 and your dad is Bill Gates? Honesty is the best policy. Maybe they could rename the podcast to The Posers. Negative brand names reduce and obscure the value of the content they represent unless they're an appropriate context. There's an appropriate context for pessimism. Obviously, not everything has to be butterflies and rainbows, but it's too confusing from a consumer's view as one of the first points of advertisement. We suck. Like, we're nothing. We're not a big deal. Yeah. Meanwhile, Kris Jenner is the first guest on your podcast.
Yep.
And the first angel investor into your startup as a 22-year-old with no business experience.
Again, then the term Nepo baby applies here.
Yeah.
As much as I tried to not harp on that term because I do feel bad for some of them, the term Nepo baby definitely.
I'm trash. Yeah. I'm trash.
Well, she knows, like, she's like, if she is like, I interviewed my English professor from Stanford to talk about this, this, and this, that's not going to get any views.
No. So. Nothing intellectually honest will.
All right, let's
We're finishing up these super chats. Weary Traveler said, question for Brett. I can't remember if you've ever said you were a Criminal Minds man or not, but if you are, what are some of your favorite episodes?
I took the time to write down a few, depending on whether you like them. Lessons learned from season 1, Machismo, True Night,
dedication.
Identity, 100, Minimal Loss, 52 Pickup, The Internet is Forever.
Wait, you remembered all of this just off the dome?
I remembered about half of them. The other ones I just double checked on.
But you remembered the episode titles.
Yes.
Something's wrong.
Back in the day, you had like DVD sets where you like looked at the episode names in the back of the.
That's how you watched Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Box set.
Also amplification. So all
That's
of those
just crazy to me.
Those are all between season 1 and 5. After season 5, it starts to go downhill pretty.
I imagine your brain is like. Just endless filing cabinets.
You should. Olivia could tell you some stories of some horrible, like completely irrelevant information being.
But there's like cobwebs everywhere. But it's like the filing cabinets are very well organized.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said, Filium, congratulations. It is amazing that you will have a son to pass down all that remains to.
You.
Is marriage around the corner? Congratulations to Sarah as well. Brett, OC, y'all are on the clock. Okay, get out of everyone's business. What's
right.
This guy just loves being nosy.
We're getting married this year.
Was already
is that not enough?
Yeah, that was already announced, like that you were engaged anyway. So like. I don't know what you're wondering about, dude. No Control said Reacher failed because Richmond pissed off most of the likely fans.
The season did well and did good on viewership numbers. It didn't objectively fail.
Richson, north of Richmond.
No, I'll tell you what it is that season 1 of Reacher, they released all the episodes at once, and then once season 2 started, they released them all individually, and I don't prefer that. I prefer they just released them all at once.
Normies don't care about Alan Richson.
Yep,
James Kodoridis said, I hope that people on the right learn that many conservative influencers are more influencer than conservative. Elon's recent baby mama, for example.
No. This is something that we've talked about. I don't know if we've talked about it here, but like, so they're the MAGA coalition, the new right or whatever. It's really what it is just not leftist.
Yeah.
So it's not, it doesn't want to be involved with the gender ideology, is not socialist. They're normies. They're not specifically conservative, and they're not specifically religious. That's the right is now a big tent that has a whole bunch of different factions in it, and they all kind of are like, all right, we don't want to be them. And also, them is so quick to be like, you're not one of us, and you broke the rules, blah, blah, blah. They've kind of made it impossible to not have a big tent. So it's not that, like, you know, when the Ashley Clare and Elon Musk story came out, I was talking about this on X, and the point is, it's not that the people that are voting for Trump are conservative, because there's a significant portion of them that are not. It's they're voting with conservatives. So...
Yeah, but, I mean, didn't she identify as a conservative publicly?
I don't think, yes, I do, but I don't think that people put that much thought into what they are when they say, most of the time people don't put a lot of thought into it. She knows that she's not a leftist.
Apparently.
Fair enough. But she knows that she's not a leftist. And when she says, okay, I'm not a leftist, so she thinks, okay, I must be a conservative. You're probably not. She's not, going and having sex outside of marriage and stuff like that. That's not particularly conservative. Having a baby outside of marriage, that kind of stuff isn't particularly conservative. So
sure. Brett and I talk about this a lot. I mean, this industry, if you want to even call it that, it feels cringy to call it that, but it is sort of a subset of the media industry as a whole.
Yep.
It's full of slimy people.
I mean, I don't call myself a conservative at all.
I'm glad because you're not.
That's
you're
something.
Using the accurate terminology.
Yeah, true. But the point is, like, I'm also the kind of person that actually would think about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
right, someone with a brain.
Well, I don't easy with that, but I don't know about the whole brain thing, but I at least put effort into thinking, okay, what am I? Because I used to be a libertarian. I don't call myself a libertarian either, and that's a lot because they're super annoying.
Yeah, they are.
But there's also a lot of things that I don't agree with libertarians. There's a lot of things I agree with them about. There's a lot of things that I disagree with them about.
Fine people on both sides.
Yeah.
Omega Red Fan said, should I drive in the left lane today? I want to, but
Depends.
LOL.
How much does your right foot weigh?
Are you willing to commit crimes today?
Yeah. If your right foot feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds, you should drive in the left lane.
Corey Anderson said, Phil, what is your favorite All That Remains song you don't play live?
I've always liked Vicious Betrayal from the This Dark and Heart record.
Not
I
that
like the
Jon
riffs.
Stewart? Sorry, did I?
That's good.
My understanding is contingent on them selling to Disney. Marvel made them agree to continue the roadmap of movies they were working towards that concluded with Endgame. So that's why it took longer for Marvel to break down than Star Wars. James Kodoridis said, what's everyone's guilty pleasure emo song / record? There's nothing guilty about it, but I love Falling in Reverse. Just everything, all the...
Sarah was really impressed that Ronnie liked our baby announcement.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I'm like, he's a friend, I mean, like, he's a nice guy.
But he's the bad guy.
He is
He's
the
a
bad
savage.
But when she saw it, she was like, wow. At first, she was like, oh, Christian from Falling in Reverse liked it. I was like, yeah, Ronnie liked it too. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. And then, like, we've been on tour with those guys,
I want Ronnie to follow me back on X, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't know.
He's an icon.
Guilty pleasure, Vindicated by Dashboard Confessional.
And by the way, I'm aware, before anyone points out, that Falling in Reverse isn't actually emo, but like culturally it is. Not That Jon Stewart said, whereas George Lucas gave them an outline for 7, 8, 9, and Kathleen Kennedy, Pinky swore she would continue his legacy and threw it away as soon as the ink was dry. Well, I guess that means she wasn't contractually
She's
obligated.
like, yeah, I'll cover it.
Yeah.
And then did the big turn to the camera and went.
I feel like George Lucas should have known that was going to happen. Shane H. Wilder said, I didn't care before, but now I'm hoping for a Morgan Wallen feature on Lana's upcoming country album. Posty would be nice too. Yes! Oh, that like feels, it already sounds like embers flying into the night sky. Like I want it.
Like you're just sitting around a bonfire drinking. Would you drink brews or?
No, not really into that, but whiskey.
Whiskeys, huh?
I like whiskey more than beer by far.
Nice.
But yeah, I want that to happen. Matt Kelly said Kanye is a gay fish. Okay. I don't know what that means.
South Park.
I guess I don't know a reference. No Control said Elon is such a good dad. He makes sure each of his kids has its own mom. Yeah, isn't that lovely? So thoughtful and considerate. JJ said, will you guys invite Ashley Sinclair back on IRL? We don't.
I don't do the inviting.
I don't know that. I don't
think she's really interested in like doing that type of thing.
Yeah,
anymore.
she's got multiple kids now too. She's got two kids, so she's not, hauling from New York City down to West Virginia.
She's busy.
Somebody just sent a super chat in that I want to mention now, even though it's at the bottom here. Corey Anderson says, prayers up for Tank, and Jessica's Tank is in surgery.
Yes.
What I did, guys, is there's a give, send, go for Tank. If you don't know who Jessica is, Jessica helps us out with like the live thumbnail graphic every day. And I put that give, send, go and pinned it as the top comment here if you would like to contribute.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, we did that last night because,
Is it pinned? I don't
It's
see
pinned
it
up here. It's right up here. It's
Okay,
the pinned comment up here, guys.
Well, I will pray for Tank. Shane H. Wilder said, I really don't apologize. I just died from the cringe. Funeral arrangements are pending. Bill will sing Amazing Grace in lieu of flowers. Send memes. I love that. Cringe funeral. Matthew Dickinson? Sorry, no, it was Dixon. Tesla is a better bastard child name. What?
Texla.
Oh, Texla. Sorry, I thought it was Tesla.
I saw somebody said.
I don't know what that means.
I think I saw somebody earlier refer to said Tesla tequila.
Tesla tequila. Corey Anderson said, "Why are we believing anything Smashly Affair has to say?" Well, I mean,
I'm not taking sides on either. I was more focused on the fact that Elon sounds like a supervillain and this sounds like weird melodrama.
You were very focused on the Elon sounds like a supervillain.
You have to read the article to understand how they framed it as him like having these like maniacal plans for Earth.
Yeah, I mean,
I will say like pronatalism is not pro-life. The pronatalist ideology is not pro-life, and I'm not pronatalist for that reason. Like, the birth rate agenda is not a pro-birth agenda because it involves killing people. It involves eugenics. So I do think it's supervillain energy. I hate it. It's evil. Pat the Plumber said, it's not Elon's baby, it's Harry Sissons. Oh, shit. It's just that 0.0001% chance that it was a false positive.
Maybe this is what David Hogg was getting out in front of.
No, he's going to primary people, and that's going to get a lot of Democrat heat.
James Coteritis said, Phil, constellations or messengers stay metal.
Constellations or messengers?
That was the question.
I'm not sure what the context is.
I don't know either. Shane H. Wilder said, it's not just Elon is getting multiple women pregnant, it's the use of IVF that also disgusts me. No one is innocent, but Elon seems more culpable. He's definitely smarter than Ashley St. Clair, that's for sure. So that means he is more culpable. Smoke Daddy 00. Hey, Phil. I know it's unrelated to what you guys are talking about, but I'm curious. Have you heard of a band called Dystopia? And if so, what do you think of them?
I've heard the name. I have not heard the band, though, so I couldn't tell you what I think of them because I don't know.
Andrew Canoy. I just found a roller hockey rink near me, and my Bauer rollerblades just got here. Let's go.
Ordered new ones. Let's go. Have fun. Enjoy.
Seth Essington said, Mary likes dairy. She's very hairy. Taco Bell, hi.
Okay, then.
Got a lot in there in a very short amount of text.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, look, I'm all for calling out satanic demonic shit, but sometimes it is satanic and other times you're just effing tarded. This is the latter. Yeah, I agree.
And we'll cover them both.
DC&C, yeah, true. We'll get content no matter what happens.
It doesn't matter to us.
Hell or high water. DC&C said Shane's gone rogue. Shane Cashman?
I think you mean Shane H. Wilder.
Shane H. Wilder? I don't know. Weary Traveler said, how many curbs will Mary hit speeding to Taco Bell once Lent is over?
I'm picturing the
I'm a better driver than I used to be.
How bad are your rims?
I don't know.
How often do you hit curbs?
Not often.
I'm picturing them like the spaceship hits a rock, like hits a meteor, and they say, "Whoops, it's because I'm a Capri Sun."
I used to be terrible at driving. I mean, just abysmal, and I was scared all the time until I moved here. Really.
Yeah. I think I drove with you once, and you were. I think you actually said that. You said like, "I'm not a very good driver because it's scary."
Yeah. Like, I was actually scared every time that I drove somewhere I hadn't been before. But I've gotten much better since moving here.
And you drive a smaller car now, so.
Yes, I do. Shane H. Wilder said, you're just figuring this out, DC&C? Oh, it was about Shane H. Wilder. DC&C said, you do you, Shane Wholesome Chungus H. Wilder. those fighting words. Shane H. Wilder said, thank you, DC&C. I think I will.
He is pretty wholesome.
Greg Duvier said, what about the woman that was left in space for 8 months? She should have got more coverage than those bimbos.
That's true.
She should have been invited. But then she would probably have, like, PTSD, so she wouldn't go.
She'd probably be like, I'm
Sore subject.
happy
These
home.
people are so stupid.
Yeah. James Coteridis said, Phil, you just got to tell me if you're sick of me asking this or that. Until then, Fixation on the Darkness or Rose of Sharon. Thanks, man.
Oh, so I'm sick of you making them so hard. You pick such great songs. They're both really, really great. And I hate picking favorites because I love both those songs. So I don't know that I can actually say one or the other. But Rose of Sharon. But I do hate to pick between such great songs.
He also said, last one, have a happy Easter. Christ is risen. Risen indeed, yes. Happy Easter Eve. Eve, I think. Yurishima Otaru said, last I read, Gates will leave all money to charity. Did he say that out loud?
I don't believe that for
That's not true.
1 second.
Look, I mean,
they'll use funny accounting to make it look like the kids get nothing. It's bullshit. Don't
and
listen
to be
to
honest with you,
say.
like, he can leave billions to charity and still leave like enough for the kids to live their whole lives. And again, it's one of those things where, you know, if he leaves them $20 million and just so long as they're not stupid, they're set for life. Right? You can have a beautiful house, have a fairly eccentric lifestyle because you'll buy a house or two that are big and nice, and then you can put $10 million into an account that actually generates revenue for you so you can actually just live off of that. Like,
once you get to that level, though,
Yeah.
it's more about power brokering and like your children's ability to continue a legacy like that, and like can your children and grandchildren fund political campaigns? Can they start like multi-billion-dollar companies? You know, like that's worth giving them the inheritance, I think. And what are charities going to do with it anyway? They're going to pay salaries.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all
gonna.
they're gonna do.
It's not a better use of money to give it to charity. It's just that it's in vogue to say that you don't have a Nepo family. And to be honest with you, you should have a Nepo family. The most important thing in your life is your family.
Also, they have a mother who will leave them money too, because the mother also divorced Bill and took half the money, gave half of that to charity, and kept the rest.
Even that was stupid. Keep the money.
I mean, again, like, she gave half of it to charity, but the money that she has is growing so fast. Like, once you get, I don't know the exact number, but if you have like $10 million and you're not stupid, you will never have to do anything. You'll never have to worry about money for the rest of your life, and you will live an extravagant lifestyle. If you have $100 million, you would never be able to spend all of your money. It'll take multiple people.
I could manage it.
You could spend $100 million?
I could do it.
How?
Yeah.
Because you have to buy things, and those things have value. So you're not getting rid of the money.
Oh. Well, I guess my net worth wouldn't decrease, but the money would.
Fine.
My bank account would go boop, and then
she
my
gives
net worth would go boop.
Your bank account would go boop, but then like once you get a bunch of things that you want, you know how you do it? You have to buy multiple boats.
I would just start buying like tons of cars because they all lose value. How about
boats
that?
and planes will suck up your money because you have
or
to.
I'd spend it all on a PJ.
There you go. There you go. But like, if you like, unless you own a plane that's just yours that you have to staff and keep, maintenance. But if you have a yacht and a plane, that'll suck up some money fast. But if you don't do that, like if you fly commercial, even if you're flying first class all the time, it's hard to go through that kind of money.
Charter.
Mm-hmm.
You can still charter and not waste all your money. At that amount.
I mean, you could get like a charter. You can charter a jet like pretty much across the country for $15,000, something like that, for one trip. Not round trip, but.
Shane H. Wilder said Alice Cooper is co-headlining a tour with Judas Priest and
so
Corrosion of Conformity. Oh, you were talking about Alex Cooper. Never mind. Yeah, different Cooper, not related, surprisingly. Aaron Swain said, would Phil dance or otherwise move if there was a metal remix of the party music?
Look, I had a dance that I myself made when it was the eating the dogs, eating the cats one.
You were perfectly willing to dance.
Yeah. It's just this one I disagree with.
We are probably due to start investigating.
Remember I did the whole eating the dogs, eating the cat, but got the golf swing in there?
We need a new one. DCNC said Bluetooth tampon, didn't realize chicks could hear through that part. You learn something new every day. Yeah, little known fact. Corey Anderson said the dog super chat was 100% Corey original.
Okay.
And then he said Kim K had the best comeback. What comeback from what?
I think that's a dirty thing.
Okay. Weary Traveler said, I'm on season 20 of Criminal Minds and still enjoying it as of now. Bill, you should check out the show Metalocalypse that was on Adult Swim.
We actually, in fact, All That Remains did a tour with Metalocalypse back in the day, back in like 2012.
I tried to watch that show. I fucking hated it. It was awful. It was so bad. Corey Anderson said, sorry, Mary, I have a big nose. Being nosy happens. Well, get a nose job then. Weary Traveler said, I meant season 14 of Criminal Minds. Okay, not 20.
I kind of stop around 10. And even that's like getting from 6 to 10
just
is...
the sound of season 20 of anything sounds
I remember
awful.
when they did the episode about the conversion camp, I was on my way out. Even though I think they handled it pretty well in general. And especially once... Thomas Gibson left. Once Hotchner left, I was kind of...
Pop Culture Junkie said, Musk paying Carano's legal tab won't settle. Revealed pay records to include Star Wars movies and series stars' salaries. Result, parade of pissed agents. That sounds juicy, but I feel like a lot of that is going to get redacted. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Details of like salaries for different actors like Pedro Pascal, I feel like we're not going to find out. Alvin McGoth said, I picked up some pierogies yesterday on my way home from work. Brett needs Polish Detroit pierogies.
See, the second you start caring about that stuff, you end up into weird ethnocentrism and identitarianism. I'm kidding. I have no interest in eating Polish food or...
They're potato cheese dumplings.
I have no interest in eating anything.
There's literally nothing
just
wrong with them.
Just because it was from, because I'm Croatian and Polish.
They're yummy.
Well, good for you.
Luckily,
I guess you're just a better person.
That's right, I am.
Eat them because they're yummy.
That's correct.
Wow. Alex Macon Betts is engaged to the most beautiful woman. Said, hi, just checking in after a while. I rarely catch you live as you're my background on work. Congrats to Phil and Brett for things in their lives.
Thank you.
He also said, by the way, my big day is in July. Can't wait.
Congratulations.
That's exciting.
That's
Congrats.
The thing in my life is in the chat right now. Hello, Olivia.
The thing in your life. Greg Duvier said, Phil, do you plan on releasing a B-side album?
I do not.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, emo album, either History for Sale or Argue with a Tree from Blue October. Evan Perry said, I just bought 1.5 dozen cookies for when Lent's over. I dropped 18 pounds by giving up everything but meat and some fruit. I'll have to try making that Swedish visiting cake as well. That sounds amazing.
The Swedish visiting cake is awesome, first of all. Second of all, I think I've dropped about 2 pounds in the past 2 weeks, which I'm pretty happy with.
How many?
2.
Did you change something?
What?
2.
Men's bodies are hilarious to me.
Why?
I gain and lose 5 pounds at least once a day.
Oh, well,
because I'm a woman.
I'm talking about like you what you do is you actually get on the scale like every day at the same time.
Yeah.
And do the same things, and then you average it across.
Yeah, but we retain water based on the time of the month.
Yeah, so I mean, okay, so it's fair to say that a woman should do it.
It's almost like totally meaningless one day to the next.
Maybe, but then so fine. Like women should, you have to look over a longer time frame.
Yeah.
But that's why I said I think about 2 over the past 2 weeks.
It's like male weight loss is like, and female weight loss is like this.
No, because like if I weigh myself in the morning, in the middle of the day, and at night, then it's different and stuff.
I see.
But you actually like women do retain water and stuff because of your cycle and stuff like that. But that men don't have to. So you're not wrong. But like men do like fluctuate too. Like at night, like. After a full day of eating, like I go to bed feeling bloated, and I probably weigh a good 5 pounds more than I normally do. Or
and how do you know you lost it?
Because, like I said, I've measured over the past.
Oh, I see.
I've weighed myself every day over the past 2 weeks, and over the past 2 weeks, I've averaged to go down about 2 pounds. I was 173 on average for a couple days last week, and now I'm hitting about 171 or so usually.
Brett also told me that Olivia enjoyed the Swedish visiting cake.
She did. I couldn't remember the name of it, though.
It's very good.
Oh.
Seth Essington said LMFAO. Not sure what he was laughing at.
But thank you.
Andrew Kanoy said, hey, Phil, what's the meaning behind the song True Cult Metal? The riff in the chorus is so good. I don't know if I even
I was making fun of kids that are like, oh, you're not metal enough.
Shane H. Wilder said Brewster's Millions remake with Mary Wen.
When someone gives her the millions.
Probably never. Painful said, Christ is the Prince, God the Father is King, all glory to him. I am most grateful to Jesus for paying my ultimate price. Love y'all. I don't know what prompted that, but yeah, happy Easter. Hiroshima Artaru said, I was talking about both of the Gates parents.
In relation to what super chat? That was, hold on. I'm going back up here.
I don't know. I feel like if you want us to understand context of your super chat, all of it should be in the super chat.
He said,
Gordon Shumway said, someone show Mary Brewster's Millions to see how hard it is to spend money.
Well, part of the reason why Brewster's Millions was so hard is he couldn't have any assets, right? So it was like he had to spend the money and not have anything to show for it, which is part of why I pointed out, like, she's not going to get rid. Like, if she buys a bunch of things, she's still going to have a net value. And it's one of those things that the left constantly is like, oh, you know, billionaires are so bad, we need to get rid of them. It's like, you can't get rid of Jeff Bezos without getting rid of Amazon and all the people that work at Amazon.
Yep. Thank you. That just means somebody else is going to own and run it, you know. Hiroshima Otaru said, stop trying to get Brett to eat foreign food. USA.
USA, USA, USA.
Pierogies aren't foreign food. Polish people have been here for longer than that. Frosty Chaos said, Mary, at first I didn't know what to do with all the money. I tried burying it, shredding it, and burning it, but in the end I decided to just give it all away. Is this a quote from...
Sounds so familiar.
Something. Shane H. Wilder said, okay, favorite Easter candy. I'm a Robin Eggs or Reese's man myself.
Reese's Eggs.
Definitely.
100%.
You just got some.
They're still in the drawer, and I have not opened them
I want
yet.
the Reese's Easter Bunny.
Ugh.
That's a lot of peanut butter.
I think
I'd have to say the same.
There are a lot of peanut butter. I think the big one, if you're talking about it, I got the Santa Claus. There's a lot of chocolate in that. It's a lot of chocolate.
But it sounds like it would be more peanut butter if it's the different shape. I don't know. But yeah, that makes me want Easter candy now. Arsenal Man said women should make a scale that displays positive affirmations instead of their weight.
Honestly, that should probably exist. It would sell.
That literally probably already exists.
Speaking from a purely capitalistic sense, that's
it's already
a great idea.
Red Snow said 304s and blow are a good money sink. Not for billions, though.
Yeah, your heart will give out before you get through all that. So, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Phil, thank you.
Thank you. I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can check us out on all of the streaming platforms. Check out our new record. It's called Anti-Fragile. It dropped on January 31st, so go take a listen to that, and don't forget the left lane is for crime.
Mary.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We're here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would like to listen rather than watch. You can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It's another great way to help the show grow. And if you want to follow us on social media, Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow.
From a pop culture junkie, Johnny Carson quote, "The only real advantage of having money is not having to worry about having money."
Well, that sounds like a good thing, right?
I don't know what to make of that.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.